board. So we're going to do a live mock draft, and it's going to be a little battle between the three podcasts. We've got the NFL show, Steve Palazzolo. I think you're wearing your GM shirt, aren't you?
Palazzolo for GM.
Yeah, there it is.
You missed the boat, Jets.
We've got 2 for 1 with Mike Renner, and then the forecast, I've got Eric in the back. He is scouring the thick binders that we have prepared on every draft prospect. We parceled out the teams, so each of us is going to pick for that team throughout the first round. We're going to aim for 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds to make your choice, and we're going to do no trading so that I can't trade with myself and vice versa. Any questions? Did I forget anything?
Rock. Now let's do this thing.
Okay, so across the bottom, you'll see the picks. They'll get updated, and we'll try and let you know where we stand. The first pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike, you've got the floor.
Joe Burrow, LSU, hand it in. Announce it now, Bengals. They need to announce it. They need to get the city of Cincinnati going. I'm pretty excited for this. I can't wait to go to some tailgates next year.
Especially because then you get the Redskins on the clock for like 2 days, and that's my favorite thing.
Make them sweat.
Yeah. Pick number 2, the Redskins. That is the NFL pod. Steven.
So normally I would just create some interest, some buzz. Tua, I'm really interested in Tua. Come up and trade for him, but you said no trades. So if I'm stuck here at the pick.
Oh, come on.
I'm taking Chase
Young.
I'm taking Chase Young. I'm taking the safest player in the draft, the best player in the draft, Chase Young. Could be my 10-year Hall of Fame edge defender in Washington.
How close are you to taking Tua, though?
Oh, I'm pretty close. I mean, honestly, I think it's better content if we let the Tua thing play out a little bit more like it will on draft night. Steve, the real GM, is probably taking Tua because you got to find the quarterback, you know?
I was shocked, to be honest, that you didn't take him. All right, the Detroit Lions, that's the forecast. This is easy. We're taking Jeffrey Okudah. The opportunity to bolster the coverage unit there, it's super important. I was obviously tempted to take a wide receiver, but I think they could legit be a playoff contender next year. So Okudah makes that the most possible. Then we're going to loop back 2 for 1. You guys have the Giants at 4.
I would love to go offensive tackle here. I think there's a lot of good offensive tackles here. I think Isaiah Simmons is too good for me to pass up, though.
Wow.
Isaiah Simmons, Clemson linebacker / safety / whatever you want. He's the answer to modern offenses. He can do a lot of different things in your defense. Giants just need that. They need anything defense, and he's obviously everything defense. So that makes a lot of sense, right?
Would you rather have him or Derwin James? Not knowing what Derwin James was,
James,
like as a prospect.
I thought Derwin James is better.
Yeah.
But he's a little stiffer, Simmons. Like, I don't think you want him actually at safety. You want him at linebacker. And I don't think he's going to be great against the run, but like in coverage, he's pretty damn good.
Derwin's also better away from the ball, you know, and Simmons is probably a little bit better closer to the ball. So, Simmons is going to be spying and keeping an eye on. No, he's not. We're going to Miami. I couldn't take Tua at 2 because I knew I had the Dolphins at 5. So PFF NFL podcast is back up, and the Miami Dolphins get their guy. No, it's not Justin Herbert. All of that hype is just fake. There's no Justin Herbert going to Miami at 5. It's Tua. Miami is already feeling good about the draft, and I've got 2 more picks to round things out later on. Taking Tua.
All righty. I expected offensive tackle to go at 4. And I thought that the Chargers would kind of end up not getting offensive tackle 1. So this is tough.
Is this the toughest part of the draft, by the way, the Chargers pick?
I think so. I think so. I mean, even if you're trying to predict what they're going to do, right? Because we have no idea if they are that enamored with Herbert. If Herbert goes first, are they enamored with Tua? I'm going to go with Tristan Wirfs, though. And the reason I'm going with Tristan Wirfs is that I just think the offensive tackles are going to fly off the board. And so given that they already have a pretty strong receiving core and we don't know who's playing quarterback, I'm going tackle.
Why Wirfs over Thomas?
It's interesting. I think it's very, very close. And the reason that I lean Wirfs is the projections like him, like ever so slightly more because of, I think, his athleticism. I was basically flipping a coin.
I would have loved to have had Wirfs for the Carolina Panthers because, again, the defensive guy I would want here is off the board. I don't love taking one of the defensive tackles this high here for the Carolina Panthers. I don't love drafting
Derek
one
Brown,
of the cornerbacks this high if I'm the Carolina Panthers. The OTs are too good here. Yes, I have just traded for Russell Okung. I'm going to throw some more resources at my offensive line. I'm going to go Andrew Thomas here to the Carolina Panthers. I know you have so many holes defensively, but I mean, you can't put a price tag. You can't put a price tag on a young offensive lineman, but I think you're going to have a dominant offensive line if you get Andrew Thomas starting in that guard early in his career, kicking the tackle later on. I think you got real talent there then.
You guys are killing me. I love both of those guys for Arizona at 8. And this is really tricky here. If Arizona had not traded for DeAndre Hopkins, I'm taking one of those receivers, probably CD Lamb. But I'm not. With Arizona, I think they're pretty solid with the playmakers. I think the tackle run has me a little scared right now. And this whole concept of you at least need an average offensive line, like Arizona is right on the cusp of average from an O-line standpoint. So I'm going Jedrick Wills from Alabama. So there's your 3 straight tackles. Wills to Arizona. He'll play right tackle. We got DJ Humphries at left tackle. I'm feeling pretty good about that for the Cardinals.
Wow.
Love that pick.
Man. So I have Jacksonville at 9. Is this just gonna be a run of tackles here? Is that what's gonna happen? I'm really
I think that's gonna happen in real life. I mean, it's not a lot.
Well, so this is what we talked about, right? It's like if you have to react to the market, even if you believe that wide receiver is more valuable, you still have to pay market price for them. So yeah, I'm gonna go Josh Jones. To me here, this is another situation where I know Jacksonville has another pick in the first round. I'm not getting Josh Jones at that pick. I can get, I think, a wide receiver at that pick. So Josh Jones.
This is the worst case scenario for the Browns, right, Mike?
Yeah. Yep.
It can't get any worse.
I mean, yes, you need a tackle, but I don't think it's that bad a scenario because I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy, Alabama, and I'm going to get the best wide receiver in this draft. I'm going to make Odell Beckham somewhat expendable at that point. And even if you don't, if he's not expendable, I'm going to have the best wide receiving core in the NFL once Jerry Jeudy gets on my roster. So I'm fine with that, even if left tackle is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge at this point.
By the way, as soon as if that pick gets made, we're going straight. ESPN is going straight to Josina Anderson, where she's received a text from Odell Beckham Jr. about how he's still remaining positive and how he loves his quarterback. And he's here for the city of Cleveland.
Wow, what a picture you just painted. A realistic one.
That's happening.
All right,
so
my Jets.
So happy.
My Jets are on the clock at 11. And this whole time I've been saying I think the Jets have a legitimate debate of tackle. Like if you're trying to protect Sam Darnold or maximize him, right? Do you continue to invest in the offensive line where they just signed like 5 dudes this offseason? Or do you take one of these top receivers? I'm still kind of the mind of getting that offensive tackle, but they're all gone. And I know Mekhi Becton's out there. We don't feel as good about him in pass pro. So I have to, as you're saying, George, play the market here. I'm excited about CD Lamb here at number 11 for the Jets. He's the best all-around receiver. And I think, he's the guy that can immediately help elevate Darnold. Hopefully I can grab a tackle in the second round, though.
I'm from the Bay Area. I'm a Niners fan, but I don't hate the Raiders. So I am happy with Vegas at 12 now. I was hoping that Henry Ruggs would still be there. I kind of expected him to. And I don't think – I'm tempted to go with Kristian Fulton, but I'm going to take Ruggs here because I just don't feel like the explosiveness that Ruggs brings will be available later in the draft because I could see Jalen Reagor being off the board. So I'm going to go with Ruggs here.
Ruggs is your guy.
I'm not sure that's what the Raiders – I don't know how he fits in that Raiders offense. They have a lot of ancillary type pieces then. No real guy. But I don't really care about that. I'm the 49ers GM, and I'm going to go with Javon Kinlaw at this point to replace the need I had from losing to Forrest Buckner. I think Javon Kinlaw makes that defensive line third down packages too dominant to block next season. Javon Kinlaw.
I'm sick.
I think this is the pivot point. I mean, based off PFF value, right? Like those top 12 guys, I think we've all pretty much come to a consensus that that's pretty close to our best players, right?
Can I ask you though, Mike? So
Yeah.
why would you not? So Kristian Fulton is cornerback 2, and we've talked about how he's not Okuda, but he is, he's really complete.
Yeah.
Why would you not? You are a believer in coverage over pass rush.
Yeah. I'm not sure he fits their scheme great. I don't think I'm not sure he's like really a cover 3 type of cornerback, but that's just my take. Like, I'd rather target cornerback later in the draft because I'm not going to get any interior pass rush that I want later. So I got that 31st pick where corner is going to be probably most likely the value is going to be there.
I would say real quick, can you explain to the viewers why Kinlaw over Derek Brown?
Yeah, I mean, Kinlaw, he already had a higher pass rushing grade last year, had a higher pass rushing grade in 2018. He has longer arms. He's 6'6". He has, all these sort of traits you want to rush the passer at the NFL level. I don't see Brown has, good traits to play defense tackle at the NFL level. I'm not sure he has great traits to rush the passer. He doesn't have the burst or the quickness that Javon Kinlaw does. So that's why
he doesn't project nearly as well as a pass rusher. I mean, it's not even close. Yeah.
All right, I'm up with the Tampa Bay Bucs. I think this is another, again, through our lens, a difficult spot because I think in our world, the Bucs would love to add a tackle, love to add maybe a third receiving option for the great Tom Brady, right? But receivers have come off the board, tackles have come off the board. I love what the Bucs have done in their secondary the last couple of years, adding cornerbacks. I think Grant Delpit from LSU is a really nice fit at safety for them. He's got great free safety skills, general ball skills and coverage, 36 missed tackles over the last couple of years. I don't love that, but I'm willing to deal with it because of what he can do in coverage, and I think the Bucs take another step forward in that secondary with Delpit.
Love it.
In our analytics mock, Eric and I, that was like the one pick that we continually made and like never even argued about. He's
binder
awesome.
Also agrees.
How thick is your binder?
It's Gettleman-esque. A lot of pages. It's about 1,250 pages of PFF draft guide, by the way.
Oh, is that? Nice.
I am.
No, but
I was gonna say that thing would cost $1,000 to print out.
Yeah. Did you print it out and take a picture of your printout?
Listen, I work from home now. I'm not printing it out. If I was still at the office, I would.
Where do you have a printer at home?
I do. Yeah.
Oh my God. Who has a printer at home anymore?
Steve.
My wife, who's teaching our kids.
You don't have an iPad? Unreal. Okay. I have Denver at 15 now. My hope was, from a Denver perspective, that Ruggs was still on the board. Now, I love Jalen Reagor. So I'm very tempted to take him. But I also know that I need some coverage. So I'm going to go with Kristian Fulton here, cornerback from LSU. And my feeling here is that I've already invested in some receiving weapons. Cortland Sutton was really strong last year, and there's a ton of depth. So I'm going to take.
I make that pick.
Is cornerback.
That's the pick I keep making in my mock because they brought in AJ Boye, but they lost Chris Harris. Yeah. I think that's a great pick. Denver fans weren't happy with me, but I think it's a great pick.
Now that's the scheme. I want Kristian Fulton in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I read your piece, Mike.
Yeah.
About you. This was actually one of the things that a math guy, not originally a football guy, like struggle with the most, which is how does cornerback and scheme like match up best? Your piece really helped me understand that. So everyone should go check it out. But that's why I took Fulton there.
Yeah, slotting all those cornerbacks, like if you were to put Kristian Fulton in San Francisco, like he'd probably be fine. But I'm not sure he's like massive upgrade over Emmanuel Mosley there or like Akella Withers.
Well, who is?
So that's why but there in Denver, that I think he would, in Vic Fangio coach defense, be a lot better. He played a lot more quarters back in 18. He was great at that. So 16, Atlanta, Cj Henderson. This one's easy. This one I feel like happens IRL. They might even move up to go get him ahead of someone like Jacksonville who could be in the market for him, something like that, because he's like one of the last guys here until, who's the Alabama's Trayvon Diggs, who's far, 15 spots lower on our board. So the difference there, they might actually end up having to go get their guy there in Cj Henderson.
Yeah, as picking for the Jaguars, I'm pissed.
Yeah. That would make sense.
All right, Dallas. Dallas, I was kind of hoping that Cj Henderson was going to fall as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm on the fence here, but I think I am going to go. This is you know who I want.
Don't do it.
You know who I want. I'm going to go with Trayvon Diggs.
Ooh.
All right.
And I was very close to going Laviska Shenault or Jalen Reagor, but they have to replace. They cannot survive if they can't cover. And I think that their offense was the best offense in the NFL in terms of yards per pass play. So I'm not as worried about that.
Dallas has 3 guys in their secondary in the last year of their contract. Like, they have to have a forward-thinking approach to that secondary in this draft and have some replacements. So I like that in general. So it's 3 straight corners off the board. Now I'm finally back up in Miami. I already got Tua, and I did think you were going to take Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
I'm sprinting to the podium to take Jalen Reagor. He is now going to be the deep threat for Tua. I'm a big fan of Devontae Parker, but I think, he needs some help. And, Miami's done a nice job of adding pieces in the secondary, and now it's all about the receiving weapons. And I think Reagor is a nice complementary piece to Parker and some of the other guys that they have.
Is the reason you didn't take Shenault because of the complementing the other pieces, or you just believe you have Reagor higher?
It's kind of a little bit of both. Like, in my head, I know we all came to this consensus draft board that has Laviska at 18, but there's the injury concerns and the fact that you probably have to – he's at his best when you scheme up, plays
He'd
for
be
him.
a lot like Jakeem Grant and Albert Wilson in that offense for sure.
Yeah.
I remember both Reagor and Shenault, actually, Mike, last year during the draft process is when I heard about those names because you were excited about them, and you have Shenault a little ahead of Reagor. Why?
I think he's more of the NFL body type and can succeed in a number of different regards. Like, Reagor's just deep threat. Like, I think I'm not sure he's going to ever be too much more than that. I don't think he's ever going to be your complete. Like, I don't think he's Steve Smith as an undersized receiver where he's going to win a number of different ways. So I think Shenault can be deep threat, but also underneath threat, but also intermediate threat. He can do pretty much anything. Like, he has that physical ability at the end of the day.
I was going to take Jalen Reagor for the Raiders there, and just double up on receiver. But
I love that as a concept, by the way.
You kept me from doing that. And now I'm thinking about doing it anyways with Laviska Shenault because why not? Like, but I think I'm going to have to go Jalen Johnson, cornerback from Utah. And just because the Raiders have not been able to cover in so long, I already have Ruggs. So I've invested in the wide receiver position already, and I don't want to make it too easy for Derek Carr. So I'm going to go with Johnson, who I honestly think is one of those guys that can kind of do it all. And I'm not sure there are that many guys that like that left.
Answer this one for me, George. This is the pick that seals the deal on the Khalil Mack trade. And, you guys have done so much work on WAR and actual player value and all that stuff. What has to happen for Jalen Johnson by himself to make the Khalil Mack trade worth it? Because it's a tough concept for people to wrap their head around. Khalil Mack is a superstar. Jalen Johnson is an unknown draft pick from Utah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a really good example here. I just did this for the Cowboys. So, like, Byron Jones has been more valuable than Khalil Mack over the past couple of seasons each year. He's been twice as valuable as Ezekiel Elliott. Like, he was a top 5, top 7-ish corner. I think over the past 2 seasons, cumulatively, he's our 4th graded cornerback. But if Jalen Johnson is a top 10 corner in the NFL, then by himself, he's more valuable than Khalil Mack using PFF wins above replacement, simply because of how much more valuable coverage is. Now, I don't think he's going to be that. But if he's an average corner, I'll be happy.
Cool. You're up
Um,
again.
You're up.
Jacksonville. I'm up again. Okay, so Jacksonville went. We went offensive tackle with Josh Jones. I liked that pick a lot. I have Gardner Minshew here. If there was a third quarterback on the board here that I thought was worthy of being taken in the first round, I think I would pull the trigger here on that. But I don't. So I'm going to go with Laviska Shenault.
Ooh,
Laviska to the Jags.
I like it, actually.
I mean, I think
he fits what Gardner Minshew does. That's for sure.
So that's my point, right? Is there's no one in this draft that I am more excited for to take short, accurate throws and make something of them, I think, than Shenault if he can stay healthy. So that's why I went with him there.
Renner, give your Laviska comp from the draft guide. I love it.
He is in the draft guide listed as Saquon Barkley, because that's the level of dynamic athlete you're getting. Maybe also the level of wide receiver you're getting. He's not great at wide receiver things just yet, but he's very good. Good ball skills. So, all right, I'm on the clock for Philadelphia.
I have an while you're making that pick,
Okay.
Neil texted me a picture of a printer. And I didn't even recognize it was a printer at first. I was like, it almost looks like a microwave to me.
Oh, all right. I think I know where I'm going to go with this one. And it's not great positional value, but I think this guy's good. And that's why I'm taking him.
Oh,
and it's going to be Patrick Queen from LSU. He's going to be a linebacker. And I think, obviously, you have Nathan Jerry and, TJ Edwards starting there right now, if I'm not mistaken. Whoever is starting there right now is not good. And Patrick Queen, again, coverage players in general are good. He's a very good coverage player for a linebacker. So at that point, I still think he's going to be a valuable addition, even if he's not, the cornerback that they need, or maybe a safety at this point that they could also use.
All right, I'm up with
by
the
that.
Minnesota Vikings at 22. Queen's a really good player. I think that's certainly a real life type of option there. Minnesota at 22. You guys ever do fantasy drafts where you've got your board and there's just certain players you don't want?
Yep.
Like I believe in the PFF draft board, which still has Derek Brown on it, Xavier McKinney from Alabama, AJ Epinesa from Iowa. I just don't know if those are the guys I want to walk away from the first round with. That's just like my feeling on some of those guys sometimes. And especially with Minnesota with massive needs at wide receiver and corner, I think that's the way I have to go. So I'm going T. Higgins from Clemson. Got to replace Stephon Diggs. Need somebody to complement Adam Thielen on the other side. And we got to get the most out of Kirk. So I'm going Higgins.
I can dig it.
I do like that a lot.
Best catch radius in the draft.
All right. I have the Patriots here. Again, I would take a quarterback, and I'm really tempted to take one right now just for fun.
I mean, how high would you take? Because we obviously have tiers, right? How high would you take the Herberts and Loves and the next tier of quarterbacks?
I just don't believe their mean is an above average quarterback. I think it's actually closer to replacement level. And if you are if you're below average at the position, if you're replacement level, you can hurt your team quite a bit. If you're below average, you can hurt your team quite a bit. So, man, this is tough. I think I'm going to go Michael Pittman Jr. And this is a pick that they certainly won't make because they just took
after N'Keal Harry
wide receiver last year. But here's the thing. Just because I've struck out, I don't know how many times Belichick struck out on a first round or second round wide receiver, but I'm not going to be swayed away from it. Look, I think that Belichick is going to try really hard to win this year, and they have no one that can catch the ball. And I think Pittman. I really like Pittman. I think he's being undervalued by a lot of people.
Yeah, the sunk cost theory of drafting, I get on board with that. Like if you sucked at it, well, then you probably should try again because don't just live with your mistakes.
Change your process, not the what the player the position.
I'm gonna go with our top guy on our board right now, Derek Brown, to the New Orleans Saints, because that's like the missing link in the Saints right now. That's the worst position on the roster probably is right on the interior defensive line. So going to upgrade that with a guy who's NFL ready in that regard. And I honestly think in real life, they're going to be moving up to go get either him or Javon Kinlaw and coughing up maybe another first-round pick. But who cares? The Saints are getting by with it.
Saints are all
Where
in
do you
as
think
any
they
team.
would move up? Would they jump the 49ers, do you think? Or would they trade with the 49ers?
I think they're interested in like 10 to go to
Okay.
Cleveland. Cleveland's obviously, Andrew Berry going to be a trade back disciple, I'm guessing. So that's where I think they'd target. If Brown falls all the way to 10 past Jacksonville, past Carolina, I think they could
I'll be doing cartwheels on top of the kitchen counter if that happens.
Even with the Saints adding Emmanuel Sanders, man, if they were a Jalen Reagor fell to them or whatever, if they had another receiving weapon, I mean, that would be the thing.
Breeze can't hit Reagor. He can't throw that far. Come on.
You just need him to take a couple dudes with him, open things up for Sanders and Thomas even more. I just don't want to be the team that walks away from the first round with Derek Brown. That's just me with so many pass game weapons out there. So I'm back up with Minnesota on the clock. Took T. Higgins with the first pick. I'm very tempted by the next interior defensive lineman here because the Vikings do have a massive need as far as pass rushing interior D-line.
They have a need everywhere. Take a quarterback.
Take a quarterback? I'm going to go.
Steve, you would take Herbert at 6?
Not really. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't. You're saying Minnesota should be taking a QB here? With Cousins locked up for a couple years?
If you're drafting for need.
I'm not.
Okay.
I try to take the most valuable players, the best players at the most valuable positions is the strategy. So that's why I'm going to go one of my favorite corners in the draft, Jeff Gladney from TCU. I think he's a really nice fit for their scheme, for Zimmer, battle-tested Big 12 corner. And I think Minnesota has a ton of picks, but if they do walk out of the first round with a wide receiver and a corner, I think that's a good start to their draft. And I'm up again.
While you're deciding on Miami, I was just going to say that was the guy that I was thinking about, him and one other corner for New England a couple picks ago. I really like Gladney.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good player. I think, Mike, we debated Gladney, AJ Terrell from Clemson. Like, there's a few corners that are very close, I think, from a ranking standpoint for us. Miami's back up. So we got their third first-round pick. We've got Tua so far, Jalen Reagor. Oh, man. I think I'm very tempted for the safety position here. But I'm going to go Jordan Elliott from Missouri. Ooh. I don't think he's getting enough first-round hype. I think he might be a better player than Derek Brown is from a, pass rushing standpoint, what he could do at the NFL level. Let him penetrate, disrupt. Jordan Elliott, most underrated player in the draft right now.
Ooh, good call. I like
most
underrated. Is anybody, Mike? I try not to keep up with too many NFL.
I haven't seen a first round
in the first.
No, I haven't seen him in the first round yet. So
like he
I saw
won
James
5%
Lynch in the first round. I haven't seen Jordan Elliott.
That's crazy. But Elliott won 5% more of his pass rushes.
I can't believe you took an interior defender for the Dolphins in the first round.
Back-to-back years, building the trenches.
My goodness.
Well, they need a guy that can get after the QB after they got Kristian Wilkins last year.
All right, Seattle's up 27. Now, this is a pick, again, I feel like they're going to certainly go with someone in the trenches. And so I'm almost tempted to go with Curtis Weaver, who I feel like could add a lot as a pass rusher there.
Jonathan Taylor.
But I just can't get away from the fact watching that game against the Packers, where they just had such a lack of coverage ability. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with AJ Terrell. I think,
I don't know if he sees the field is the thing with Quentin Dunbar and Shaquille Barrett there, or Shaquille Griffin there.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will move to the slot is the only thing.
My point, yeah, I was torn. So I think he's more valuable than Ashton Davis. I was going to take a safety.
Love Ashton.
That's where I'm going to go.
All right,
I'm not drafting for need. I'm drafting valuable players.
All right. Valuable players. Still have to see the field, though. That is part of the debate, which is great. So I've got Baltimore here at 28, and I wrote an article last year about how they're playing positionless football, which some people interpreted as like 11 people just kind of doing their own thing. Like, that's not what I meant. I just meant they've got guys, safeties play linebacker roles, and defensive end play linebacker. Everybody just is interchangeable as far as what they're able to do. And I think there's a couple guys on the board that can do that. I'm going Xavier McKinney, though, from Alabama. The guy can cover the slot. He's got slot type of footwork. He could play free safety. And I just think he meshes because Baltimore is just throwing a million safeties out there who could do everything. And I just love this fit for the Ravens. As does Austin Gale, who's texted me how much he loves it.
Yeah, I mean, he might still be – he could probably even play line – I mean, he's undersized. I don't know if he's full-time linebacker, but maybe for them, they don't really give a damn. So, yeah. All right, Tennessee, Titans, I'm going to trust the board here. I'm going to go A.J. Epinesa. Lost Jarrell Casey, who did some, versatile things on that defensive front. Obviously, they signed Vic Beasley, who's not good. So, I'm going to draft a guy who's good and can play base downs, maybe let Vic Beasley just focus on rushing the passer full-time, work on that part of his game. Instead of any run defense, he can be my third down guy and kick A.J. Epinesa inside. So that's where I'm going to use my guy, A.J. Epinesa. Iowa.
Let's see here. So Green Bay, your Packers, Mike. There are a lot of receivers that I really like that are here. And I know that tackle is something that they need. But I just said that I'm not drafting for need. I'm drafting valuable players. So I'm deciding between Brandon Ayuk and Denzel Mims. And it's very close. And Justin Jefferson, honestly. Mm-hmm. The thing with Justin Jefferson that worries me is we did a little study a couple of years ago looking at how players do when they play a different position than they do in college. And there's just it's not that they don't do well sometimes. It's just that you should have way less confidence. So I'm not going to pick a slot-only guy here. So I'm going to go with Denzel Mims, despite the fact that I want to make Sam Monson bad and pretend to hate Denzel Mims. I do like Denzel Mims.
So you know why I think similar studies that you guys have done on Aaron Rodgers and his unwillingness to throw the ball over the middle of the field? I wonder if I would get a Justin Jefferson who dominates the middle of the field and say, Aaron, you got to throw to him. Get me a guy that's going to make Aaron Rodgers attack the valuable intermediate middle of the field where Justin Jefferson is the best in the class.
Is that giving Aaron Rodgers an ultimatum, and how does that work out?
Oh, no, so, it's like the old management skill. You got to make it his idea, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, hey, we got this guy. He's really good. He reminds me of Victor Cruz, work in the middle of the field. You guys could,
Yeah. So you're saying that Gutekunst is just going to give him a call and be like, hey, man, it's getting close to 30. What do you want? And just try and coax him into saying a guy that attacks the middle of the field.
Okay. I know you hate running football plays the way that they're drawn up, but if I get this guy for you, will you throw to him?
All right. I'm on the clock. San Francisco 49ers, 31. First time around, I went Javon Kinlaw. I said cornerback would be here. There's
a lot of guards.
You guys were too smart and went cornerbacks before. The next cornerback on our board is all the way down at 49, Bryce Hall. Now, I love, truthfully, his fit in that defense, but that's just too rich for me to go all the way down the board to there to get a guy at 31. That's too big of a reach. I got a lot of edge rushing talent on the board right now.
They're probably trying to trade down right now.
This is where I would want to trade down in real life, because you would want, ideally maybe like Cesar Ruiz and Bryce Hall. If you could swing that, would be awesome. Put two guys lower down on our board that you could get later in the draft. But since I have to pick here, since we're not trading, I'm debating between Ashton Davis and KJ Hamler, and I think I'm going to go KJ Hamler for that, just purely for that offense.
Wow.
And what he brings to the table. I know they have Marquise Goodwin, who's a speed receiver, but he's not as dynamic with the ball in his hands as Hamler is. And just the amount of people that defenses have to worry about now on that San Francisco 49ers offense is dangerous.
So not enough teams think like this. I love it. That breaks the league, right? You already have to cover Debo. You have to cover a creative running game. You've got one of the fastest teams in the NFL already. Why not make a strength even stronger? I love it.
Yeah.
George, your thoughts?
I was gonna basically ask a question that made that the answer, which is why don't you go with a receiver that's higher on the board like Jefferson or Ayuk?
Yeah. Because the 4-3 speed in that offense is too much. Now they have it, but
you're playing at running back.
More. Well, anywhere. You can give them sweeps. They're going to do that. They're going to do. He's just another thing for defenses to worry about.
All right, this is fun, guys. I want to go. Let's go round 2. Knock it out. Okay, I've got the Chiefs at 32, the Super Bowl champs. We all know that they're just a running back away from winning a world title, but it's not where I'm going. The same mentality that Renner just had, grabbing KJ Hamler. I am so tempted. Don't try to sway me, Austin, in the Google Doc. I am so tempted to just burn the league, right? Patrick Mahomes.
Flat out.
More wide receivers, more people to cover.
Why not?
Only because I don't see the cornerback value here that Mike already mentioned. I think they've already done a great job at the safety position the last couple of years. I'm going Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State. A yak monster into that offense. You don't have to rely on Sammy Watkins. This is also, you're not just drafting for this year. Sammy's going to be gone after this year. You get the next guy. Patrick Mahomes, 7 straight MVPs. Let's go.
There's only one ball. You know that, right?
Yeah, but there's 53 yards to cover horizontally.
And they don't run.
And Ayuk makes you cover all of it.
They don't run. Eric is really happy about that. But just because Cincinnati would be on the clock now, and they already have
Let's keep
Joe
going.
Burrow.
Can we keep going? We didn't plan on this at all.
Should we get Austin in here to grade the drafts? Who won?
Do you want to go? You want to go like 15 more minutes? I don't even know which teams people have. Mike, who would you take at 33?
Who would I take here at 33?
Yeah.
On the Bengals? Whew.
Oh, Justin Jefferson.
That was tough.
That's who. So we're doing a little like 3-4 round mock or whatever.
I love it.
And that's who I took at 33 was Justin Jefferson.
He's basically Tyler Boyd though. Like his upshot.
But
you got another Tyler Boyd.
You got 2 players. You got 2 slots.
Tyler Johnson's Tyler Boyd. Come on now.
Gosh.
Mekhi Becton's still on the board.
They got like 3 safeties already. Yeah, I go
let's
Mekhi
discuss the
Becton.
guys that are left here.
I go tackle. They need it too bad. Definitely Mekhi Becton.
Becton?
Yeah.
Even though our numbers don't love Becton from a pass protection standpoint, and
He'd
Duke,
probably be good at guard. At
Duke,
least.
who's coaching him up, likes to take some shots at us. Duke does a good job of coaching.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if Becton becomes a really good player.
So that's the thing is, and I think everyone should go read the article that I think it was Ben and Eric wrote about like Becton, and I think they talked about Josh Jones a little bit too. But it's not like we just don't have a sample size on Becton having to do things that are NFL pass sets at any sort of sample that's worth looking at. Like he was being flipped from left to right tackle. Like there's just so the variance is high, and when you're drafting a tackle in the top 10. Personally, I'm trying to minimize the chance that I get turnstile there. That's the only thing I can't have.
Yeah.
Because he's going to play. If you draft him top 10, he's going to play. All right. Well, instead of doing round 2, do you guys want to discuss the names real quick that are still out there that are probably going round 1? Justin Herbert from Oregon, obviously. Becton, who we just talked about. And Justin Jefferson and Caleb Chason. The couple LSU guys.
Do you think Ashton Davis goes round 1?
Nah, he's borderline. I doubt it. I bet the safeties kind of are like low in general. Yep. You might see
There's always one random safety though that sneaks in there.
I think
might be Jeremy Chin this year.
I think the NFL has, and just based on how hard it is for us to, I think, pin down coverage value, and in particular safety coverage. It's just coverage is just so unstable, and safeties have an even smaller sample of targeted plays. So
that's the thing. It's like you watch a safety on all 22 and you watch what he does. You will see 5 plays a game that like a guy can actually separate himself. Maybe like if you're a deep safety, if you're a box safety, and I think that's why like box safeties get drafted higher is because you can see the variance.
Yep.
Even though they're probably less valuable than that deep safety, like the 5 plays he makes a game, if you get a guy that makes all 5 of those, he's saving you a ton in terms of value. Whereas if there's a guy who makes 4 of those, you probably still say he's good, but that one play is still, very valuable. And if there's a guy that only makes 3 or 2, like you don't see it, and it's a difficult like sample size to base off of. But the guy that can make all of those, I think, is very valuable because they're the big plays. Like those are the big plays that need to get made.
So the other thing about safety though, some of the best safeties in the NFL just don't make mistakes. And that's like Devin McCourty, Adrian Amos. They're just like not out of position. They don't make flashy plays. They just don't miss a ton of plays. And that's extremely valuable too. And that's also tough to project. Like which guy is just going to carry out his assignment over and over again.
What were your guys' favorite and least favorite picks that you made?
Ooh, that's a good one. There was one time I was on the board where I was like, this sucks. What was it?
Mike, I'll do your least favorite for you. Javon Kinlaw, San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, that was the time I was on the board, and I was like, I don't love any of these picks for this because the wide receivers all went. I would have gone any of those top three. If I'm the 49ers, I'm going Judy, Lamb, Ruggs. Everyone falls to me. It doesn't matter. I would have gone any one of those. I would have anywhere else after that. If I'm going cornerback, safety, I don't love the value that I'm getting there. Kinlaw, the value is not great there either, but he's so much different than any other defensive tackle I can get in this class. The incremental difference is too much there to pass on him at 13.
Did you think about Delpit actually?
They have safeties.
Yeah.
At the moment, I mean, they re-signed Jimmy Ward. They got Jaquiski Tartt. They got Tarvarius Moore. It was a third rounder a couple of years. They got options there at least. And while it was an issue, 2018, they played a lot better this past year. So who knows?
George, what was your favorite?
Let's see here. The one that I'm still struggling with a little bit, even though I really like Tristan Wirfs, is the Chargers at 6. And I don't know where else I would have gone. I just remember struggling with that one. I was thinking about taking a wide receiver there. I love all my picks, honestly. I guess the Seattle one I really struggled with. I took the player that I simply think has the most value. They're
the worst team to mock draft for, I think, every year. Anyway.
You just know that they're going to take a running back or something at 27.
I was looking at the Jets at 11, and I loved that I got to take CeeDee Lamb there at 11, even though I've wrapped my brain around. I think the Jets still need work to do to become just an average offensive line to give themselves a chance. Mm-hmm. You can also mitigate your pass protection by just having a receiver who gets open. And I think Lamb becomes a high volume guy for Sam Darnold. So I kind of like that the board fell with 4 offensive tackles in front of him so I could take Lamb, who I love.
My favorite pick that you made, Steve, was Rager to Miami. Yeah. That was a guy that I thought about taking for Denver at 15. I actually really liked that pick at 15. That was one of my favorites. Another pick of mine that I actually liked was Ruggs at 12, obviously, to the Raiders.
So that's my same theory as the Aaron Rodgers thing, right? Derek Carr was in blowouts last year, checking down and averaging 5 yards per target. Give him a guy that's going to run by people down the field and make him a little bit more aggressive because Carr is legit. Carr can have a Stafford-like rejuvenated season.
Wow.
Where he attacks down the
That was not –
What?
I got to say, that was not
what?
That was not inspiring confidence in me. But
well, Stafford was awesome last year before he got hurt. He was aggressive down the field, and the Lions weren't winning games, but Stafford was fantastic. I think Carr –
right. Can I just – Steve, there's a mentality difference between Stafford and Carr that I'm not sure that you can even pray away no matter how hard you try. That's Stafford the mitigating factor for me.
Carr has shown in 2016 and 2015 and 16, he looked like, perennial top 10 quarterback. The last 2 years have not been great. The last 3 years have not been great for Carr, but he has it in him. He's got every throw in him. You got to extract it out of him. If he doesn't do it this year, I think him and John are done anyway. So have that Alex Smith rejuvenation. How about that?
Gruden is not done, Steve. This is year 3. What? He's got 7 more. No way they're firing him.
Austin says he stands with Carr. He's best Raiders quarterback since Bruce Gradkowski.
This was actually a lot of fun.
This was.
I really enjoyed this. So any other parting thoughts? Should we do another one of these at some point? I don't know.
Ooh, draft day? Let's do a draft day.
We'll do a draft day. The thought exercise is fantastic because you really don't know what's going to happen ahead of you. And we all become a little bit more like-minded every now, the more we work together. But you just, with the NFL, you don't know. Somebody's going to make a pick that you love because it's,
Well, Here's the thing. So there's a different, when we do our individual mock drafts, we have to be the GM for everybody. Now, even though we all think, if we were all in the same room together, we'd have no problem because we're pretty close. But when we're each drafting individually, a little bit of variance times 3, it really adds up. And so you get a little bit of difference throughout it. Yeah, let's do like a 12 noon on draft day.
I like it.
We'll prep
date.
Cool. One last thing that I should mention. We're going to be giving away some merchandise from the PFF shop. So the main account, I believe Gordon McGinnis is going to tweet some stuff out. It's like a little competition or something. But the merch is pretty cool. You can get like a throw the damn ball hat, a shirt. There's some Tampa Bay stuff for you, Steve. So check that out. Get the PFF draft guide. Steve has it printed out. That means it's valuable. It's actually really, really awesome. And go play on the mock draft simulator. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.